Yo, we're gonna do a fight night prediction video for UFC Fight Night Vancouver that's happening this weekend. We're gonna start with the prelims. We're gonna go through the main event. We're gonna discuss who I think will win and why. I think this is gonna be a fun card. Obviously, the main event: Brendan Allen versus RDR. Listen, we're gonna have a lot of knockouts on this card. I think obviously Drew Dober is on this card. We got Azamat Bekoev on this card. We got Danny Barlow on this card. I do think that Kevin Holland's on this card. There's gonna be a lot of knockouts. The name value isn't crazy. There are some names on here, but I think more so the fights are about to be some quick, crazy knockouts. I think we're going to see on here. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to go right into it. We're going to start with the Melissa Croden versus Tainara Lisboa. Now, I watched Melissa Croden fight Ashley Dean, and I watched her fight Katharina Lehner. And this girl, Melissa Croden, by the way, is coming in from a different promotion. Okay. She's making her UFC debut. This is her first fight in the UFC, and we know that the last couple of weeks, these women that have been coming over from different promotions have been performing very well, getting finishes even more than we're used to. The last fight card, I think both women got finishes on the card. So I don't know if this is like an evolution of women's MMA, but I see something happening here. I see something happening with women's MMA. But Melissa Croden does a lot of good work in the clinch. Flatlined Ashley Dean with the elbow. I think it was like the third round or second round. Dropped her with the elbow. Like I said, does a lot of her work in the clinch and just slips in those nice inside elbows, slips in those knees, slips in those strikes that catches women off guard. Apparently, dropped Ashley Dean on the ground, just finished her on the ground. Katharina Lehner, same thing. She did the same thing to her. So I do think that Melissa Croden will win this fight. Tainara Lisboa, she's not bad, but she's not good. I'm saying? She has decent wrestling. We saw Luana Santos control her, beat her by the entire fight with the grappling, beat her by Kimura. She did beat a girl named Ravena Oliveira, who's also fighting on this card. She beat her pretty easily after getting controlled in the first round. She was able to control her the second and third round and win a unanimous decision. But that girl had nothing in the way of offense for her. She submitted Jessica Rose Clark. I just don't think that she's going to have what it takes to withstand the grappling pressure that Melissa Croden is going to bring towards her. Melissa Croden is going to push forward. She's going to get her in the clinch. She's going to do a lot of work in that clinch. And I do think that we'll see Melissa Croden get the victory in this fight. On to the next one. We got Yousri Belgaroui versus Azamat Bekoev. I just think that Azamat Bekoev is too powerful. Like, I'll say this. Yousri Belgaroui, he's 6'5". He has a 79-inch reach. In this fight, he has a 7-inch reach advantage. I don't think it'll matter. I don't think it's going to matter at all. He also trains with Alex Pereira, I believe. This is the guy. Trains with Alex Pereira, but I don't think these attributes that he has are gonna matter. Now, I watched him fight a Taiga Iwasaki where he did use his jab well. Kept him at range, uses kicks to keep guys at range, the teeps. He's able to keep guys at range well, right? And Taiga Iwasaki, though, who's also a power puncher, I did see him get on the inside of Yousri Belgaroui quite a few times in that fight. Now, if Taiga Iwasaki, a power puncher, is able to get in his way on the inside and land on Yousri Belgaroui, I think that Azamat Bekoev will do the same. The difference is I think Azamat Bekoev will put him away. Now, Yousri Belgaroui could have a crazy chin and could be able to take some of Azamat's punches. I don't think that's going to happen, though, man. I just don't. I think Azamat Bekoev is going to get a first-round KO in this fight. It'll be after he gets frustrated from all the long jabs and the long teeps and the long strikes at distance. On to the next, we got Ravena Oliveira versus Stephanie Luciano. Now, listen, Ravena Oliveira, I already said, I watched her fight Tainara Lisboa. That was the only fight she's had in the UFC. And she just, after the first round, she got a takedown. After that, she just got controlled and beat up the entire fight. Terrible striking. She's just not very good. Stephanie Luciano, though, now, why watch her go to war with Sam Hughes? And Sam Hughes is very good. Sam Hughes is very, very good game veteran women's fighter. Stephanie Luciano was able to stuff those takedowns. Not stuff all of them, but she stuffed some, and she was able to use the wizard to get back up when she got taken down. She has great leg kicks. She has good hand speed. There were times where she was lighting Stephanie up. In fact, I thought that there's a great argument for her winning that fight, to be honest. I thought she landed the better strikes, but the refs didn't. So with that being said, I'm picking Stephanie Luciano to beat Ravena Oliveira. On to the next, we got Drew Dober versus Kyle Prepolec. I'm going to, Kyle Prepolec has this weird, quirky style. We saw him get obliterated by BSD, but he has this weird, quirky style that's a little weird to deal with sometimes. It's just really quirky and weird, and just, I don't even know how to describe it, but he was in a war with Austin Hubbard, man. Austin Hubbard might be the worst fighter in the UFC. Yeah. He might be the worst fighter in the UFC. Kyle Prepolec has some awkward movement, though. That's the only thing I'll say. He has some awkward movement. Fights that southpaw style. But Drew Dober is a powerful guy, man. We've seen Drew Dober KO Rafael Alves, Terrence McKinney. He had that come back from behind win versus Terrence McKinney. I know he's had a rough go in his last couple. Manuel Torres, Gene Silva, and Moicano. He's had a rough go in his last couple, but I just think that Drew Dober's a better, more game veteran fighter that's going to lean on his experience to get a win versus a Kyle Prepolec, who I don't think is very good. I mean, if you're taking Austin Hubbard to a war, bro, you're just not very, you're not very good. You know what I mean? You're just not. Sorry. On to the next, we got Djorden Santos versus Danny Barlow. Now, I might be more excited for this fight than, this might be the second most exciting fight. I'm going to let you know. But as of right now, this is the fight that I'm the second most excited to watch, I think. But as we go down, I'll something might pop up. I think Djorden Santos is a game fighter, man. He's going to press versus Ozzy Diaz, who I don't think is very good. He was pressing forward. He was getting lit up by Ozzy Diaz's jab. Lit up badly. But I just think that, he still made it a scrappy war. He was still, out there throwing his hands up, talking his shit. He's a very, I think he's going to make it a war. He's one of those fighters that just makes the fight a war. I don't know how to describe it. Like, he's just going to make the fight a war because he's going to be aggressive. He's a pressure fighter. He's going to push forward. Where Ozzy Diaz, I think, what he did well was, I think he matched the pressure. Like, he was not backing up. Well, I think that Danny Barlow could be patient at times, and I could see Danny Barlow not backing up, letting Djorden Santos kind of dictate the pace and the pressure. You know what I mean? And I don't think that, and I'm not saying I think he's gonna win, but that was a war, man, versus Ozzy Diaz. Even on the Contender Series versus Will Curry, impose his will, was march forward. There were times where he was pressing Ozzy Diaz even. But Ozzy Diaz said, listen, I'm not going to let this guy push me back. And that's how he won that fight. Danny Barlow was slept bad by Sam Patterson. I haven't seen him since, which is, Danny Barlow, though, I don't know that he's very good, right? So very fast. I just wish he was a little bit more active. He does have the 3.5-inch reach advantage in this fight. He is a southpaw fighter. Very fast hands. But versus Veretennikov, Jesus criminy, Veretennikov versus Veretennikov, that was just way too close of a fight. Veretennikov isn't very good, man. Way too close of a fight. So this one's a tough one to pick. It's a tough one. He's coming off of a knockout. I think it's going to be in his head, Danny Barlow, man. I'm going to go ahead and pick Djorden Santos on this one. This is something I don't want to... I feel like I should pick Danny Barlow. I feel like I should pick Danny Barlow, but I'm going to go ahead and pick Djorden Santos on this one. It'll be a fun fight. I think it'll be a close fight. But I don't think that like the Jourdain Santos is gonna make it. He's gonna, if he has to grit down and dog it out, he will. I don't think that Danny Barlow has that. Like he does, but he doesn't. To make it a scrappy war, like if he has to, I just don't. He strikes me as the more clean. Like so I want to keep you at range, use my reach, my 3.5. He has a 3.5 reach advantage, by the way. Danny Barlow does. I could see him being the fighter that wants to like stand behind that reach advantage and just kind of like work behind that. Versus the Jourdain Santos, who's going to press him and make it a war. Like there were times in the Ozzy Diaz fight where I thought Ozzy Diaz was taking over, and then the Jourdain Santos would just come out of nowhere. You know what I mean? So that's just what I see in this fight. That's just what I see in this fight, and I think that's going to happen again in this one. I think I'm going to pick the Jourdain Santos to win this fight. It will be a fun fight, though. I do think that guys are going to get hurt, rocked. Danny Barlow does have power. I could very well be wrong about this fight. I would not be surprised if I'm wrong about this fight. But I'm just going to go out on a limb right here and say the Jourdain Santos. I really like both fighters, but I think that the Jourdain Santos is going to pull it off. Hyunsung Park versus Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva isn't very good, you know. Cody Djorden had him on shaky legs before he finished Djorden. But after that, I think, Joshua Van did him dirty. Manel Kopp. By the way, can we make Manel Kopp versus Joshua Van? Imagine that striking battle. The speed of Kopp versus Van. I know I'm talking about a completely different fight, but that'd be a wild fight. On the feet, I think that Manel Kopp might be the only person that would be able to give him any type of a run on the feet. Manel Kopp, because of the speed. But anyways, let's back to the fight. Hyunsung Park versus Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva isn't good. He just isn't good. He's coming off a bunch of knockouts. You know what I'm saying? He's just not good, man. I don't even know how he's able to get some of these fights. Like, he's fighting big names, and these are guys that are just doing him dirty, you know? Hyunsung Park is an up-and-coming guy. We saw Hyunsung Park get shown levels by Tatsuro Taira, but Bruno Silva is absolutely not Tatsuro Taira. You know, Hyunsung Park has 3 first-round finishes. You know, he has 3 submissions. He's aggressive, you know. I think it was against Shannon Ross. I watched him land some nice stepping elbows. Dropped Shannon Ross badly with a jab. Ground and pound. Body triangle. You know what I'm saying? Like, he locks. Once he gets you hurt, he's locking locking you up like a cobra. You know, he has power. Yeah, I think he finished him with like a liver shot, Shannon Ross. You know, so the fights outside of the Tatsuro Taira fight, he looks good, Hyunsung Park. I just don't, I don't know how far he will go. Obviously, it's not the elite of the elite, but I could see him just outside like the top 10 or something like that. But Bruno Silva isn't good. Hyunsung Park's gonna finish him. Yeah, either by submission or a KO. I'm gonna pick Hyunsung Park to win this one. On to the next week. Got Davey Grant versus Charles Jourdain. Charles Jourdain, he just won versus Victor Henry, but Victor Henry isn't, he's not great, but he's not bad either. Gene Silva finished him. Sean Woodson beat him. Even though that was a split decision, that was an interesting one. I just think that Davey Grant's too slick, man. He's too slick, man. We saw what he did versus Damon Blackshear. That was such a veteran win right there, Weather the storm early, the takedowns early, the submission attempt by Damon Blackshear early, and then work your way into the fight and just get into that flow state. I think that's what I'm going to say. Like, Charles Jourdain isn't complete garbage, but the thing about it is this. When both men are in their flow states, I think Davey Grant's flow state's a little bit better than Charles Jourdain, in my opinion. Beat Ramon Tavares. He was robbed by Adrian Yanez. He's robbed by Daniel Marcos. I think that Davey Grant's pretty good, man. He really is. And I think after this fight, it'll be like 3 or 4 in a row. Maybe 4 in a row. Yeah, Davey Grant's pretty good and very, very crafty, very veteran savvy. And I think that's what's going to take over in this fight. I think, again, his flow state's just a little bit better than Charles Jourdain, in my opinion. On to the next, Matt Frevola versus Kyle Nelson. Now, I want to pick Matt Frevola, but something's telling me to pick Kyle Nelson, even though, I mean, it's just like... So Kyle Nelson got KO'd by Steve Garcia, which, by the way, watch out for your boy. I'm very high on Steve Garcia. I think Steve Garcia is a problem. But yeah, Steve Garcia KOs Kyle Nelson, which means that, you know, he's not in the upper echelon. Kyle Nelson is not, but Kyle Nelson got a KO over Bill Algeo. But most of Kyle Nelson's fights are not KOs. This strikes me as the type of fight that where I can see Matt Frevola that's finding that chin, man. You know what? That's what I'm gonna say. That he's gonna find that chin. Now, Matt Frevola is kill or be killed. I just don't think that Kyle Nelson is gonna kill him. You know what I mean? That KO versus Bill Algeo. Bill Algeo is just, you know, Bill Algeo is Bill Algeo. Other than Bill Algeo, who you KO in Kyle Nelson? No one. That's who. And I think that Matt Frevola, like I said, kill or be killed. You know what I'm saying? He KO'd Drew Dober, Atman Azatara. You know what I'm saying? He took Armin to a decision. Now, kill or be killed. We saw BSD take his head off. We saw Faris Siham take his head off. But he's a kill or be killed guy. He's, you know, I think at one point he had like 4 straight KOs in a row. The fight's gonna end in a KO when you fight Matt Frevola. Pretty much is what that means. And so I think that he's gonna end up winning this fight by KO, even though I can so see Kyle Nelson winning this. And I should not pick Matt Frevola to win, but I'm gonna do it because I'm going with my hunches this week. Cody Gibson versus Aoriqileng. Aoriqileng. Cody Gibson versus Aoriqileng. Aoriqileng's not terrible. I mean, we saw what Raw Rosas Jr. did to him at the Sphere. I mean, he made it competitive in the second. Look good versus Johnny Munoz. I'm trying to think, man. I think Cody Gibson is just... I don't even understand how this card's on the main card. Is it? Yeah, it's on the main card. I just think Cody Gibson is a little bit better, more athletic, better grappler. I think, you know what I think is going to happen? Cody Gibson's going to grapple him. The grappling is going to be advantage. I think Cody Gibson's a little bit better of a striker as well. But if it does get hairy, I can see Cody Gibson leaning on the grappling. He's probably a little bit more athletically strong as well. I'm going to go with Cody Gibson by decision on this one. On to the next. We've got Jasmine Judah Vicious versus Manon Fiorot. I'm not mad at this. These are two very large women. I don't think that Jasmine's going to be able to take down Manon, though. Maybe she will, because she has the grappling advantage. She has this jiu-jitsu advantage. But Manon's so big and strong and powerful, and I think Manon's got the advantage on the feet. I think Jasmine has the advantage on the ground, and Manon has the advantage on the feet. I'm gonna put Manon by decision. Although I'd like to see Jasmine win. She has a better personality. She's better for the sport, I think. She's a fresh new contender for whoever gets the title. Natalia Silva's gonna wreak havoc anyway on whoever wins. It doesn't matter. But I'm gonna pick Manon for this one, guys. Manon Fiorot. I think she's just gonna keep the fight standing, and she's better on the feet, in my opinion. On to the next, we got Ayman Zahabi versus Marlon Chito Vera. Listen, I want Chito Vera just to beat him because of what Ayman did to Jose Aldo. When you go back and you watch that fight, the Ayman Zahabi versus Jose Aldo, I don't know, man. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'd be a terrible judge. It just seemed like... Okay, so the second round was close, and then Ayman won the third because of the ground and pound the last. But he got dropped badly in the beginning of that third round. Jose Aldo won the first round. So, I mean, I guess there's an argument. It's not a robbery. You can give Amin Zahabi the second and third round in his fight versus Jose Aldo. It makes sense. But I'm still upset about it, and I still want Chito Vera to go in there, and I want him to knock out Amin Zahabi. I think that Chito, historically, we've just seen him fight. He takes his time, and that isn't gonna vote well versus a striker that's gonna come out of the gates like a Figgy, what Figgy did to him. You know, that's gonna come out of the gates guns blazing. I don't see that style working, but a guy like Amin Zahabi, who's not doing anything super impressive, he works behind a jab pretty well, kind of like a weird, awkward Philly shell style that Amin has. Does like to put pressure on the guy that he's fighting. I mean, I don't think he's going to have overwhelming volume to start. He'll start faster just because that's how Chito is, but I'm going to go ahead and pick Chito in this one. I'm going to pick Chito to win this one. I think Chito's going to start slow, and then he's going to pick it up and win the fight in the later of the 3 rounds. He's going to win the second and the third, in my opinion, Chito is. On to the next one. We've got Kevin Holland, the co-main event of the evening. We've got Kevin Holland versus Chito Vera. I'm sorry, versus Mike Malott. Now, Mike Malott is 5-1 in the UFC simply because the reason why he's not 6-0 is because he ran into the GOAT of the welterweight division in Neil Magny. The absolute GOAT of the division, the most wins in welterweight history. He is the GOAT of the division. If this was a pure striking match, Kevin Holland all day. Can I see Kevin Holland worming his way out of some of those takedowns? Yes. Man, you know, and Kevin Holland quits. Thing is, like, Mike Malott didn't finish Trevin Giles, though, you know? This is a tough one. This is literally a toss. I'm gonna pick him because which Kevin Holland are we gonna see? The guy that just comes in there and just like showcases incredible striking, or are we gonna watch the Kevin Holland that just quits fights? Because of that, I'm gonna pick Mike Malott. I don't like it because I want Kevin Holland to win. I want Kevin Holland to finally show what he's capable of doing if he's serious, gets serious about his career. But I don't think he ever will do that, and I'm going to go ahead and pick Mike Malott to win this fight because of Kevin Holland and his behavior. On to the next, we got the main event of the evening. We've got Reina Diareta versus Brendan Allen. Man, this is an interesting one because I'm definitely picking RDR. But Brendan Allen is like, he could easily, you know, if he just made better decisions at key moments in fights, Brendan Allen could be at a different place in his career. Literally could be at a different place in his career right now. Anthony Hernandez, there were opportunities for him to win that fight. Nasruddin Mavov, there were opportunities for him to win that fight. You know? But he just doesn't make key decisions in the key moments of fights. And he's making these fights close with high-level guys. These are high levels of competition that he's fighting. Nasruddin Mavov is about to get a championship fight, and he made it very close in that fight. At times, had more success than Kai Barajo in his fight versus Nasruddin. Actually, to me, it looked like he did. You know? Had a tough fight against Anthony Hernandez, who should be on this card, who should be the one fighting on this card right now, versus Reina Diareta. You know? Brendan Allen's good, man. He's good. He has all the capabilities in the world. He's good on the ground. He's good striking. He has good grappling. He's good everywhere. He just doesn't know how to put it together the best and make decisions at the key moments in fights to win them. You know what I mean? While Reina the Ritter now, once he smells blood, that boy is pouncing. Savage knees. I think where this is going to come down to, Reina the Ritter has the height and reach advantage. He's the bigger fighter. And I think he utilizes that jab, that long jab, and those knees to the gut so well. So well, and I think that's what the difference is going to be. I mean, I think both guys are going to not necessarily cancel out on the ground. I just don't think that that's going to be the because of how good both men are in the grappling department. I think there's going to be key moments on the feet that I think Reina the Ritter will win. I think Reina the Ritter is going to hurt Brendan Allen with those knees. He's going to sting him with the jab, hurt him with the knees. Brendan Allen's not going to know what to do with it. And I do think that we're going to see Reina the Ritter win this fight. And I'm going to say by finish. It'll be good until it's not. You know what I mean? It'll be a good, fun scrap back and forth. I think we'll have some good scrambles on the ground. I think both men will showcase superior grappling ability. Transitions are going to be fun to watch. High-level behavior. Until Brendan Allen does what Brendan Allen does and makes a key flaw. It has a clear error in his game. Transitions when he's not supposed to. Jumps for some sort of rear naked choke or jumps for some sort of guillotine when he's not in any way, shape, or form in position to actually get it. Just something like that he's going to do. I do think that on the feet, while Brendan Allen's good, I think that the attributes lean in the favor of Reina the Ritter. I mean, like I said, that the length, the reach advantage. Wait, he does have the reach advantage, right? The height and reach advantage that he's going to have. Let me see here. Yeah, he has a 3-inch reach advantage, which I mean I knew off rip. I didn't even have to look. He's gonna land that knee to the midsection. He does a really good job of wearing down his opponents, and I do think that's what we're gonna see in this fight versus a Brendan Allen. And we know that Nasruddin Imavov is fighting for the title next, but man, imagine if a Brendan Allen does win, though, right? How crazy would that be? Because that reshapes everything. I mean, Reina the Ritter is this guy that is on a literal path to championship right now. That's what everybody sees for him. If he somehow loses this fight to Brendan Allen, it'll be such a shakeup in this timeline. It'll literally be such a shakeup in this timeline. Because it's no one's expecting this at all. I think a lot of people are expecting a good fight, but no one's expecting Reina the Ritter to lose. So if he does, that will throw Brendan Allen right back into the thick of things, and then that will kind of be a speed bump for Reina the Ritter. Which, I mean, honestly, at that point, I know that DDP is number one contender, but you got to make that fight at that point. Make that fight. Even if Reina wins, you make that DDP fight, in my opinion. It's must-see TV, man. It's must-see TV. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pick Reina the Ritter, guys. Pick Reina the Ritter. I think it should be a fun fight. There should be some good transitions, some good striking. Because Brendan Allen is good. He is really good, man. But he just, like I said, the decision-making, the fight IQ, it's not where it needs to be for him to go to like that upper echelon, that top 3 in the division. He'll hover around that 5 to 7 all day, every day. He'll hover around that those areas, but I just can't see him cracking that top 5, top 3. It's just because of the decision making, the fight IQ. So with that being said, guys, it's your boy MMA Mechanic. Like, comment, share, subscribe, bell icon, all the above. Until next time. I'm a bully.